Okay, well today we're going to do limits that are approaching infinity, when x is approaching infinity or negative infinity. Pay attention to your signs, because that's the only thing you'll probably get wrong on these if you're not careful. So on the first one, we notice that there is an x squared at the top and a plain x at the bottom. Well, if you envision infinity as the biggest number you can think of, and you're plugging it in, the top is always going to be bigger than the bottom because you're squaring these humongous numbers and then dividing it by a smaller number. So it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. However, there's a negative sign right here, and the negative sign will mean it'll get smaller and smaller and smaller. It'll get more negative. So this one is going to approach negative infinity. Now let's look at this in another way. I'm going to teach you a way you can use on all of these, and then I'll tell you what the deal is. So the biggest x in this problem is an x squared. And if you put x squared over x squared on top, and then 4x over x squared, and then 2 over x squared. On the ones that have infinity issues and negative infinity issues, you're going to get a 0 in the basement. Look what happens. What's x squared over x squared? It's 1. And this would be 4 over x plus 2 over x squared. Well, when I put a humongous number in there, 4 over a humongous number is essentially 0. Like if I were to cut a pie into a googolplex number of pieces and you get 4 of those, you'll get 4 tiny little particles, so you will get close to no pie. So since there's going to be a 0 here and a 0 here, you'll have a 0 in the basement, and then that you know that the answer, when there's a 0 in the basement, you know the answer is going to be either infinity or negative infinity. You just got to decide what it is by analyzing it like I did at the beginning. Now let's look at this second one. This second one, if I put x squared, negative x over x squared, plus 2 over x squared, over x squared over x squared, plus x over x squared, plus 1 over x squared. I picked the biggest x in the problem, and I put that under every single thing. Well, that's going to factor out as negative 1 over x plus 2 over x squared over 1 plus 1 over x plus 1 over x squared. And if you notice, a negative 1 over a humongous number is a 0. A 2 over a humongous number is a 0. It's really close to 0. And then you've got a 1, so you've got a 0 upstairs. And downstairs you have 1 plus 0 plus 0, so you have a 1. And that is a number. 0 over 1 is a number, and it is 0. So that is your answer to number 2. We're going to do the same thing with number 3. We're going to do x squared over x squared, and then x squared over x squared, plus 9 over x squared. And don't forget the minus sign in the front. And that's going to be 1 over 1 plus 0 with a minus sign in the front, which is going to be negative 1 over 1, which is negative 1. So if you notice, on the top, the degree of the top was the same as the degree of the bottom. Those usually are going to clean up to a number. If the degree on top is less than the degree on the bottom, it's also going to give you a number, not an infinity. But if the degree on top is bigger than the degree on the bottom, you're going to get infinity or negative infinity. So just pay attention to that. So on the next one, it's the same thing. And we're going towards infinity again. So we have x squared over x squared over x squared over x squared plus 9 over x squared. That's going to be 1 over 1 plus 0, because this guy turns into a 0. And so that's equal to 1. Like I told you before, that top is an x to the 4th. We're going to have zeros in the basement. That means it's going to be infinity or negative infinity. So since we are plugging in a negative infinity, but we're making it to the 4th power, that'll still be a positive upstairs, a positive huge number. And downstairs we're squaring it, which will be a positive huge number, but smaller than the x to the 4th. So this one is going to go towards positive infinity. Okay, and those are the hardest ones to see, but if you can see that the top is bigger than the bottom, then you need to know what's going to happen when you plug in a negative huge number. But when I put a negative huge number to the 4th power, it's going to still be positive. And when I put a negative huge number to the 2nd power, it's still going to be positive. So it's going to be a positive over a positive minus this little miniature 2, which isn't going to do anything to a huge number. So it still goes towards infinity. The last one is going to negative infinity, and we have the same degree upstairs and down, so we have to put everything over x squared. Make sure we put that minus in the outside, so x squared over x squared minus 4 over x squared, and that's going to be minus, and then upstairs you're going to have a 2, and downstairs you're going to have a 1 minus, and this guy turns into a 0. So you're going to have a negative 2 would be your answer to that last one. We are Zooming today, so I'll see you in a little bit. Talk to you later. Bye.